I don't think it should win a Game of the Year. It's just very safe.
It's the same cringy Marvel Reddit humor that you've seen time and time again.
It is not a perfect game. This game is, honestly, now the more I think about it, it's a little mid.
So yes, Insomniac is dead.
Oh my god, bro.
Which I was happy to see them do very well last time, and then they will immediately fuck it up this time by putting in the wrong flag in his apartment.
You gotta see it to believe it levels of woke.
Oh no, no, no!
That shit's ass, bro.
Now after watching those clips, you might be thinking, dude, I know, Spider-Man 2 is mid-L, old news, bruh. And I almost agree. Spider-Man 2 is a good game, but it's not a great game. Even though I definitely preferred it over some games nominated for Game of the Year, I believe Game of the Year should be awarded to the super defining games, and Spider-Man 2 was not that. This is common knowledge. You can't just have a 15-hour campaign with weak writing in a Ubisoft tier open world and expect praise. But wait, what the fuck? What do you mean you can't just make a safe open world game and get praised? Before Spider-Man 2 came out, the people were on Insomniac's dick. I've said this 5,000 times, but I am not a Spider-Man PS4 fan. It's still a quality game, but like I've said before, most people will love it and only the more seasoned gamers will see its cracks. I think the biggest thing that flies over people's heads is that Spider-Man PS4 just has weak writing. Now, while I do remember this video being a lot more divisive than it actually was, it's safe to say that it still struck a lot of people's nerves. People were out here trying to clap back at me, and what these dudes don't understand is that I wasn't trying to attack Spider-Man PS4's writing. I was instead shedding light on the skill and efforts of good writing. But with how many people were praising Spider-Man PS4 for having great writing, it's crazy that now with Spider-Man 2, they're all gone. What the fuck happened, Insomniac? Well, today, we're gonna find out. We're gonna see what these great Spider-Man critics have to say. So first Reddit, because Reddits are the smartest men alive. Spider-Man 2 is disappointing. So firstly, why does my man have a picture of him holding his controller? What does this add to the overall point? Like, I guess let's just read. Playing through this now, and I use the term loosely, there's an awful lot of player agency removed from you early and often. Peter talks more than Alloy did, and the combat hasn't really evolved since the Activision days. Activision days? What are we talking about here? Are you referencing the old Spider-Man games like Web of Shadows and Shattered Dimensions? Fucking Spider-Man friend or foe? This is the same combat as Spider-Man 2? This guy's living in an alternate dimension, still got that picture of him holding his controller. I don't know what he's trying to say with that. I've just started, and the first thing I noticed is that the game looks like shit. From the moment their character showed up, I could tell something was off, and I continued playing, and it just looks horrible. Dude, honestly, the graphics looked washed. Like, this classroom scene is like, oh my god, what the fuck is this? It seriously looks worse than the last two games. Is it me, or did Spider-Man 2 have a rather short honeymoon phase? Ooh, honeymoon phase, when everyone loves the game before collectively agreeing on an opinion. Dude, the fact that the term honeymoon phase even exists is just Reddit embarrassing. A good game should probably maybe still be a good game even years later? Spider-Man 2 was nominated 7 times and got 0 awards. Deserved. Hopefully Insomniac will do better for Spider-Man 3. Oh wow. I couldn't agree more. It was genuinely too safe and cookie cutter of a sequel. And in many ways it was a step back surprisingly from the first game, which is never a good thing for a sequel. Okay, I mean, not really explaining much. Yeah, it was garbage. Get rid of the pink-haired dev team. I don't know if I'm still following. The hype surrounding these games is unreal. They're really well-crafted games, but I just finished one and it had to be some of the worst writing and storytelling I've ever experienced in a modern game. Predictable story with some of the worst character relationships. Oh shit, dude. That was actually a good explanation, and I'm starting to wonder if we're getting to the point too soon. Insomniac's writers are pretty mid, in my opinion. It's like they focus group their scripts to hell and back to make sure they're as bland and inoffensive as possible. Fuck! Here's the thing. When I was first playing Spider-Man 2, I found the character's extreme lack of charisma pretty funny. I remember even emphasizing it in my review. But on replay, I was just not laughing. And I really started to notice how fucking dull these characters were. I know it's gonna sound like I stole this guy's comment, but I remember thinking to myself that these characters were meticulously calculated to have the most inoffensive personalities and relationships possible. You look at Miles and Genki. I don't care how nerdy you are, nobody's ever like, you figured out the flux capacitor. You're a genius, Genki. And this fucking friend group with the deaf girl is just so incredibly artificial. This 10-second scene in Spider-Verse shows so much more character for Genki than anything in Spider-Man 2. Peter in this game is also embarrassing. Like that part with Genki where he's making the drones and he's like, we don't spy on people, Genki. Like, oh my fucking god. Peter's relationship with MJ is just so bland, fucking computer generated. Harry too. Like, when I listen to the dialogue between these two, I just cannot process them as actual people. So these attempts at fun dialogue are just so fucking nothing. I cannot stress enough how hard it is to stay awake during these moments. Honestly, the game that comes to mind right now is Last of Us 2. Now, I'm not saying that the overall plot is perfect, but why do I consider this to be one of the best stories in gaming by default? Because the people actually sound like people. Character and dialogue writing are the most important aspects because then you can actually grasp the narrative. A story isn't good because of a bunch of events that happen. It's what those events mean to the characters. Most video games that come out these days have this weak ass writing that loses my interest and forces me to look past it. I'm not saying that Spider-Man 2 is a completely worthless story because there are some aspects about it that I liked, but the weak parts are genuinely miserable. Jesus, tough crowd in this thread. Like, you're telling me that Yuri Lowenthal shouldn't have won for best performance? His voice acting was literally impeccable and showed such raw emotion. Dude, fuck no. Honestly, looking at this lineup, I can't really decide who did better. If it was up to me, just cut the fucking category. Is anyone else not enjoying Spider-Man 2? I honestly can't stand the dialogue. It's like it was written for 12-year-olds. Miles is so damn annoying to listen to. Genki and his deaf friend are so bland, I roll my eyes every time they're on screen. The way Peter talks when he's mad in the black suit is extremely cringe. I was completely fed up when Peter was riding a bike through a park to some checkpoints. The battery starts smoking, he's like, oh no, I have to make it to the charging station or this bike will explode. And I just remember thinking, dude, you're Spider-Man, it's a tiny battery, chill the hell out, dude, and got crazy. So here we have another decent review, and I'm not trying to be like, if you agree with me, you're a real ass guy. Obviously, this review has a lot of things that I agree with, but it is a pretty standard Reddit emotional dumb review. Spider-Man fans, when their 15-hour mid-superhero game didn't win a single award. Dude, this is the type of disrespect I made this video for. Like, imagine if you said something like this before Spider-Man 2 came out. Insomniac has lost all their stock and respect. It's over. I'm sorry to my Spider-Man fans. Let's check out Metacritic now. As a massive fan of Spider-Man in the previous game, I despise how rudely woke this game is. It's despicable how a game studio could even think that it's okay to teach our customers our own correct way of thinking. Correct way of thinking? Weren't we just talking about how nothing Insomniac's writing is? What exactly were they trying to teach you? I just couldn't get into it. I fell asleep while playing, bro. What the fuck? Imagine falling asleep while playing. Worst Spider-Man story I've ever seen. Gameplay is crazy, but everything else is just nope. Boss fights are bad, endgame suits are a joke, and don't even get me started on all the propaganda inside the game. Okay, wait, what is this propaganda these people are talking about? The Miles Morales side missions that fit the agenda and the propaganda of two boys holding hands. Guys holding hands? Go woke! No fucking way people actually say go woke, go broke. They're ruining my favorite entertainment medium with this shit and brainwashing. Go woke, go broke. My last Spider-Man. Bye-bye, Insomniac. Bro, what the fuck? How are these even real reviews? These people fucking suck my ass at reviewing Spider-Man. Perfect sequel! I really like the darker story. Movement in the game is better than the original game. It seems Insomniac gets the top developer. Nah, we're done. Now, even though I couldn't find any comments on Reddit or Metacritic, the general consensus of Spider-Man 2's story is that it was rushed. I disagree. The game took 5 years to make, and I'm not a game developer, but I'm pretty sure most of the work was done back in 2018. The narrative is a mess, but I'm struggling to see how that doesn't come down to Insomniac's lack of writing skill. What boggled my mind about the last game is that everyone loved it. And now it's pretty much the norm to say that you're disappointed with Spider-Man 2. Now everyone had their experience with the first game, and I'm not saying that they're lying. But when it comes to the writing, both games are pretty equal. Cosmonaut Variety Hour gave Spider-Man 2 an 8 out of 10. But he really tore into the writing and flat out said he didn't care for Insomniac's version of Spider-Man.
I may think that this version of Peter Parker is insanely dull and uninteresting, but I do think that the directions his story took were genuinely kinda cool. The characters just don't have any charisma.
And as a result, this trailer shows off this no charisma ass Spider-Man. This was the turning point. He could talk shit about stupid ass Miles, but Peter? When I first finished Spider-Man PS4, I knew he was a bland character. There was nothing interesting about him. The best aspects of Spider-Man PS4 were just general ideas that could have worked with any Spider-Man. Spider-Man fans and casual gamers in general always look at things at face value. They see Insomniac Spider-Man, they're like, okay, he has a job with Doc Ock, he has to pay rent, okay, he's a good person with Aunt May, okay. But what they can't see is how weak the writing is. So what happened? Well, for one group, I feel like Spider-Man 2 had such weak writing that they couldn't help but realize. For the other group of casual gamers, they just naturally bandwagoned for Baldur's Gate. For the group of mentally disabled gamers, they thought it was woke. And for the rest, nothing changed. And this group is probably like 80% of the community, so fuck you, this was a waste of time. No, but seriously guys, this was a loose end that I had to tie up with Insomniac Spider-Man. This is the end, guys. It's truly an end of an era. Spider-Man 3 Norman Osborn. I can't emphasize enough how apathetic I am towards that game. But we'll be back then. So goodbye, guys.